Juggling in here last night, doing radio with Ed Morrissey, who did a marvelous job from hotair.com and townhall.com and all the different hosts. I'm juggling like mad, and then NBC calls and they come in via Skype and they put me on the spot. What did I think? Here I am with Savannah Guthrie, cut 16.
I just asked one question. Why didn't you do it in the 8 years, a short?
Let's bring in radio talk show host Hugh Hewitt, an NBC News political analyst, president of the Richard Nixon Foundation, and a Trump supporter. Hugh, I want to hear what you thought about tonight's debate. It was a different Trump. To say it was better than the first debate maybe is setting the bar a little bit too low, but did you find yourself wishing you'd seen more of this version of President Trump along the way?
I also wish I'd seen, yes, Savannah, absolutely. I wish I'd seen more of this version of Joe Biden at the end. I will transition away from the oil industry. The sleeper moment in this debate came at the end when Joe Biden announced the shutting down of America's oil industry. And I believe that's going to be the soundbite that's going to travel. As I said before the debate, he had to talk to Pennsylvania, and the president did. He talked to Pennsylvania repeatedly about fracking. And we're going to see some fact checks on the vice president's record on fracking. But the oil industry, the return to the Paris Accords, that was an unforced error by Joe Biden that I think will resonate with a lot of middle Americans as being extreme. I also think the president was very effective when he spoke directly to the black community. By the way, our colleague Kristen Welker did very well tonight in maintaining pace and questions. I kind of feel vindicated when I told Mark Meadows yesterday she would do just that. She ran a marvelous ship, and it's a very difficult thing to do. And I do believe, though, he made some ground with the African-American community, and that Joe Biden got tripped up by Kristen on the crime bill, on the super predator stuff. Finally, although I was listening for the laptop and I heard the vice president open the door to an examination about it, it did not dominate the way I thought it would. This was just a very solid, substantive debate in which people, very few of whom changed their mind, but all of whom had their bias confirmation fed one way or the other.
That's very 2020 America, Hugh.
Look, everybody walked away thinking, hey, I got what I needed, but then you have to go check what everyone else is saying, and everyone else was saying Donald Trump won. He wasn't going away because a debate, like a football game, goes until the whistle blows at the end. And when the whistle blew at the end, Joe Biden had wilted. And America is going to, there's a lot of messages within the debate, but the old Uber message is at the end that Joe Biden was fading after 4 days of rest. 95 minutes, it went a little bit long, and he was fading. Look, let's get to my favorite quote of the night, cut number 14.
I would transition from the oil industry, yes.
I will transition from the oil industry, yes. I thought, bingo, that's on my card, you're done. But there's a lot of other good stuff. Here's Joe Biden's fracking disaster last night, cut 13.
Beautiful factories that we need to compete with the world. So
False.
It's all a pipe dream. But you know what we'll do? We're going to have the greatest economy in the world. But if you want to kill the economy, get rid of your oil industry. You want... And what about fracking?
All right, let me allow Vice President Biden to respond.
I never said I oppose fracking.
You said it on tape.
I did. Show the tape. Put it on your website.
I'll put it on.
Put it on the website. The fact of the matter is he's flat lying.
Would you rule out banning fracking?
I do rule out banning fracking because the answer, we need other industries to transition to get to ultimately a complete zero emissions by 2025. What I will do with fracking over time is make sure that we can capture the emissions from the fracking, capture the emissions from gas. We can do that, and we can do that by investing money and doing it. But it's a transition.
It's amazing. We've got a montage that's going to wear out. We've played it so much, but we're going to try. Cut number 12. This is Joe Biden over the years on fracking, over this year on fracking.
No new fracking.
We are going to get rid of fossil fuels.
Well, like, what about, say, stopping fracking and stopping new pipes?
Would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No, we would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated. I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel, and I am not going to cooperate. No ability for the oil industry to continue to drill, period. Ends. Number one.
3 consecutive American presidents have enjoyed stints of explosive economic growth due to a boom in oil and natural gas production. As president, would you be willing to sacrifice some of that growth even knowing potentially that it could displace thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of blue-collar workers in the interest of transitioning to that greener economy?
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. No new fracking.
Joe Biden just got so wound up in himself. If you're around for 47 years, it's going to happen. But the key moment, perhaps, for the election was Donald Trump speaking directly to the African-American community last night, cut number 9.
President Trump, same question to you, and let me remind you of the question. I would like you to speak directly to these families. Do you understand why these parents fear for their children?
Yes, I do. And again, he's been in government 47 years. He never did a thing except in 1994 when he did such harm to the black community. And they were called, and he called them, super predators. And he said that. He said it, super predators. And they have never lived that down. 1994, your crime bill, the super predators. Nobody has done more for the black community than Donald Trump. And if you look, with the exception of Abraham Lincoln, possible exception, but the exception of Abraham Lincoln, nobody has done what I've done. Criminal justice reform. Obama and Joe didn't do it. I don't even think they tried because they had no chance at doing it. They might have wanted to do it, but if you had to see the arms I had to twist to get that done, it was not a pretty picture, and everybody knows it, including some very liberal people that cried in my office. They cried in the Oval Office. 2 weeks later, they're out saying, gee, we have to defeat him. Criminal justice reform, prison reform, opportunity zones with Tim Scott, a great senator from South Carolina. He came in with this incredible idea for opportunity zones. It's one of the most successful programs. People don't talk about it. Tremendous investment is being made. Biggest beneficiary, the black and Hispanic communities, and then historically black colleges and universities. After 3 years of coming to the office, I love some of those guys. They were great. They came into the office, and I said, what are you doing? After 3 years, I said, why do you keep coming back? Because we have no funding. I said, you don't have to come back every year. We have to come back. Because President Obama would never give them long-term funding, and I did. 10-year long-term funding, and I gave them more money than they asked for because they said, I think you need more. And I said, the only bad part about this is I may never see you again because I got very friendly with them, and they like me and I like them. But I saved it.
That was such a great moment. I want to close, though, this segment. 1-800-520-1234. All right, you can call all hour long. Is Trump not believing Joe Biden when Joe Biden tries to blame him, tries to blame the laptop from hell on Russia? Cut number 10.
I ran because of you.
All right, Vice President Biden, your response to that, and then I do have some questions for both of you.
Well, I tell you what, I hope he does look at me because what's happening here is you know who I am. You know who he is. You know his character. You know my character. You know our reputations for honor and telling the truth. I am anxious to have this race. I am anxious to see this take place. The character of the country is on the ballot. Our character is on the ballot. Look at us closely.
Let me ask some follow-up. Please respond, and then we're going to have follow-up
questions. If this stuff is true about Russia, Ukraine, China, other countries, Iraq, if this is true, then he's a corrupt politician.
All right.
So don't give me the stuff about how you're this innocent baby. Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
Nobody.
President Trump, I want to stay on the issue of race. We're talking about the issue.
Laptop from hell.
President Trump, we're talking about race right now, and I do want to stay on the issue of race. President Trump,
I have to respond to that.
Please.
Because, look,
very quickly.
There are 50 former national intelligence folks.
Hold it right there, because when we come back from break, you got to hear this closer. Because the laptop from hell, it was going away. Kristen was changing the subject, and then Joe stepped on the rake. He brought it into evidence. We'll talk about it after the